There we go. At least if it says live, so it should be. Yep, it is. All right, cool. So, preseason episode 3, MLX Gridiron guys and gals. So here we are. Just mostly this is for me being more consistent and continuing to put out videos, giving information and all that. Uh, we're just going to talk a little bit about obviously the draft is just over 2 weeks away, which means keeper deadline is just over a week away. And many of you already do. Well, some of you already have keepers picked. Amy's got her 2. I officially have my 2. I finally locked in my other one. Obviously, Brock Bowers with the 10th I'm keeping. I'm also going to keep Puka Nacua at first. At the 112, huge value. Huge value. Chris P's keeping Olave and probably not another one. Romeo Dubs and Matt Stafford are being kept by Phil for an 8th and a 12th. Excellent value for both of them, I believe. And then Roosevelt has locked in DeAndre Swift and Ramondre Stevenson. I was a little disappointed by that. I was hoping to pick up Ramondre in the draft, but obviously that's not going to happen. So the following people have not picked keepers yet, and you're going to get bothered in the next couple of days. If not right after this stream, I'm going to start sending out messages. Sean, Max, Chris A, Tommy, Benita, Donnell, Bruce. None of you have any keepers picked. So you're going to have to do that. Obviously, because the draft is 2 Sundays from now. So by next Sunday is when all the keepers need to be locked in. If you don't have them locked in by then you don't get your keepers. You don't get any. That's fine, which you can do if you want. You don't have to keep keepers. But I've looked over all the teams so many times that obviously there are benefits to keeping a lot of them. There are some really good values on a lot of teams. I mean, pretty much every team has got at least one good value. Oh, shut up. All right. What else? I mean, okay, hold on. This is the other thing I need to check too. Because I noticed people were watching watched last time, but I don't know if the chat was working or not. So let me see if that. Yeah, it does. All right, good. Chat works. Chat does work in case anybody drops in and wants to say hi or ask a question or any of that kind of stuff. Please do. Feel free. Like I said, this is me just talking about stuff. And then, obviously I wanted to touch on the keepers. Needed to, you've had your first warning. It's next warning is coming in the form of a text or DM or whatever. Also, so I know Roosevelt asked me after the last stream about the chopped leagues. For anybody who doesn't know or hasn't played, chopped league starts with up to 18 teams. In fact, I'm sure I'll get an alert when I'm on the clock. I just finished up one draft for one of those leagues. I got another one that's starting tonight. I've got the 7th or 8th pick in that one. But it's up to 18 teams. It's one for every week of the season. And everybody drafts. Everybody puts together a team through the draft, and then after that, we go into week 1. There will be typically there is still waiver wire opportunities, especially when you're drafting this early. People get hurt, people get traded, people get benched or not starters. Maybe you just want to change up your roster. Maybe somebody looks really good in camp. So we go into week 1. We all set our starting lineups, and the lowest scoring team every week gets eliminated from the league, and all their players go to the waiver wire. And then everybody who's left gets to bid on those players. It's super fun because unlike in our league or any traditional redraft or keeper league, you're not going to see guys like Jahmyr Gibbs or Josh Allen hit the waiver wire every once in a while. It doesn't happen because they're the studs. They stay on teams. You keep your stud players. But in a chopped league or a guillotine league, it is every week you see that's the lowest scoring team. All their players go to the waiver wire. So you see guys like that. You'll see a Puka Nacua pop up or a Jamar Chase or somebody. And it goes like that every single week. The lowest scoring team gets eliminated. All their players go to the waiver wire. And then pandemonium ensues. And we all get to bid on players. You typically start with $1,000 a fab. So you see some crazy bids. Some people will bid up, five, like half or more, or up to all of their fab in week one. I've seen it before. It's insane. It's crazy. Don't do that. As a self-proclaimed and vilified expert in chopped leagues, don't burn all. If CMC had a great week and his team somehow the team that had him got chopped, don't burn all your fab on him, because now you got nothing the rest of the season. You're just picking up scraps every single week of the year. So definitely don't do that. I would be open to however many people in the league want to, and maybe I'll find some other people to join too. Because the other thing too about a chopped league is you don't need 18 teams. You could do it with 10, 16, 11, whatever. And it's just it works out the same. Every week the lowest scoring team gets eliminated. So if anybody in our league would like to try it, you can run free leagues on Sleeper, on Guillotine leagues, on Yahoo. I think ESPN does it, picked it up this year. But there's plenty of platforms to do it on, and it works out really well. And it's absolutely my favorite format of fantasy football now. Absolutely, bar none. Above all, it's the number one for me. It's kind of what I'm trying to push my brand into when it comes into being a fantasy football personality, analyst, whatever, getting more opportunities, more publicity. I've got a couple things in the works. Right now, I'm working with a group, and we are pitching. I've basically pitched my title for my show. Like we're doing. This is happening. It's gonna happen. I'm gonna have a show or a regular segment with a couple of different YouTube groups or fantasy football groups, and just give out my knowledge, have some fun with it. And yes, on all those I'll be wearing my rabbit ears, and I probably should do that on here too, just in case. But oh well, I forgot today again, but not important. So yeah, I do recommend everybody give it a shot, even if it's not like with me or everybody else in the league or people, just go and try it. There's free leagues all over the place. I mostly play in free ones. If you did play it before, like last year, and you did use the Guillotine Leagues app, they did completely rebuild it. It actually it's smoother. I haven't actually done any drafting on it yet, but it definitely runs better than the old one did, and last year's mode version did. Yeah, like it's all white. Can't see. It's much cleaner. So yeah, you can see me in the corner too. It reacts well. It's good. Well, the first pick did get taken. Jahmyr Gibbs first overall in that one. Good for you. I knew I was never getting him. That's okay. When it comes to a chopped league, it's not. It is and it is like a normal redraft league where top guys are going to get taken first. But there is some difference in how I view players, like, and how majority of us, like Paul Charchi and Kendall Valenzuela, a couple of people that I talked to about this format a couple weeks ago. You want to get some good players, but you also want to get safe, boring players. Guys like Tony Pollard and Jacoby Myers are boring for fantasy, but they're so good and so enticing for a chopped league. So I seriously recommend give it a try. Go out there, download the app, or pick it up on one of the other apps that you already have. Like obviously you have the Yahoo app playing in my league. It's available there too. Give it a shot. If you need tips, pointers, let me know. I'm available to give you advice. I've been playing these leagues since basically their inception, since Paul Charchian decided put it out there and made a whole app and website and app for it. It's great. It's been 6 years that I've played in at least 50 of these things. Most of them free, yeah, because I ain't made of money. But go give it a shot. Let me know. Next part of the docket. What did I say I was going to talk about? Oh, that's right. I think I wanted to talk about. Yeah. So obviously, preseason has started. We had a Hall of Fame game. We had some games yesterday. We got some games today. Vikings and Giants play tomorrow, which is why it was so easy for me and go make my delivery at the TCO facility today, which is on my FedEx route. I get to go there pretty much every day. Delivered a package for the punter, John Hecker. Apparently, he's really, really into ping pong. Yeah. But anywho, so the Giants and the Vikings are playing preseason tomorrow. I think the game's at noon. And I just want to go through some of the fantasy relevant players with y'all. And just in kind of the format of Fantasy Football World. If you're not familiar with Fantasy Football World, it is the new show that is all the guys from the old Fantasy Football Weekly. So Paul Charchi, Scott Fish, Matt Harrison, Brian Johnson, Kent Wyrock's going to be back in there. They obviously they don't have they had to start a new show, and they did, and it's on KFan every Saturday, and it's also they've got a YouTube channel and all that stuff. And I'm actually going to go watch the latest episode right after I get done with this. But so Fantasy Football World, please go check it out. Like, subscribe, follow. They're on everything: iHeart, YouTube, Spotify, whatever. You me. But in the way that they break down games, I want to break down a little bit, or attempt to. I had planned out what I was going to do with this, but then I spent too much time trying to figure out how to put overlays on this channel and couldn't get it figured out without having to spend money. Denver's up 24-0 in their preseason game right now against Atlanta. Yeah, but anyway, let's start with the Giants. And let's assume this is a regular season game. And let's assume everybody is healthy going into week one or going into this game. So we'll start off with Jackson Dart. You got to like a rushing quarterback, a guy who can run around with the ball in his hands. It gives him opportunity to make plays happen when things break down at the line of scrimmage. But he's also very raw, and he's also like we didn't see him play all of last season. We saw him play some, but he got hurt. Concussion, making some interesting choices with the ball in his hands. But presumably he does have Malik Neighbors to throw to week one, which they only played together in part of one game last year because then Malik got hurt and he missed the whole season. But I believe Jackson Dart would struggle against this Vikings defense. I mean, yeah, they lost a couple of guys in the middle, but they picked up guys like Jeff Golday. I think I said that name right. The rookie. He's been looking great in training camp. He could step in and give the linebackers and the edge just some added depth to him, Pace, Cashman, Gink. They're just going to make it hard for Jackson Dart to get things done on the offensive side of the ball, which is they're going to have to put the ball into the hands of Cam Scatteraboo and Tyrone Tracy. Cam Scatteraboo, explosive as they come, as long as he can stop failing on backflips and smashing his head into other people. He could be a real test for the Vikings. And again, yeah, we don't have Jonathan Allen anymore. We don't have Jonathan Hargrave. We don't have Grenard either. Javon Hargrave, sorry. Jonathan Grenard. Those guys are considerable, obviously, for the defense. But when you got Brian Flores leading the way as the defensive coordinator, it's he can do magic things with pretty much anybody. I mean, I think Scatteraboo still has enough explosiveness to get something done. Oh, that's right. I'm supposed to put grades on these guys. Jackson Dart, C grade on a scale of A, B, C, and bench. They don't do D's on Fantasy Football World, and they don't do plus and minuses. I have to remember that. So, Cam Scatteraboo, I'm going to give him a soft B because he could just, if he gets through that line, and he'll outrun the majority of those linebackers and run up, 10, 15, 20 yards in a play or maybe more. He gets a touchdown, he's worth it. So yeah, I'm going to give him a B for sure. Tyrone Tracy, bench. I got to wait and see how they're going to play it out. If they're going to do more of a split, maybe they will. I think they probably should, just to then take away from the risk that Scadaboo could, get hurt. If you're giving Scadaboo the ball 25 times a game, he's going to have a higher risk of getting hurt than if he's getting the ball 15, 18 times a game. And we've also seen Tracy do well. I meant to pull up stats for this, and I apologize for it, but I'm trying to get my point across. But Tyrone Tracy would be a bench. If we move over to the wide receivers, Malik Neighbors. I mean, he's Malik Neighbors. If he's 100%, you start him and you sit back and watch the fun. Even against the guys that are on the defense in the secondary, like Isaiah Rodgers, like Byron Murphy. I don't think either of them has the ability to lock him down. So if Dart has the time to throw the ball and he can get to Malik Neighbors could make anything happen. He's that good. If he wasn't coming off of an injury, he'd be a top 5 pick in basically every fantasy football draft, any redraft. So absolute smash A on that one. Think about the other wide receivers. I mean, Odell Beckham, don't care. Jalen Hyatt, don't care. Isaiah Hodgins, don't care. Darnell Mooney, don't really care. Those are all bench grades to me. Malachi Fields, rookie. I loved him coming out. I was hoping the Vikings were going to try and draft him. It didn't happen. He goes to the Giants. He's got a better shot at getting some considerable playing time, but maybe not right off the bat. They've still got Darius Slayton back there. Big play threat. I would give him a C, Darius Slayton, just because if the Vikings do try and double up Neighbors, that's going to free up Slayton to get some more opportunities. And all he needs to do is catch one ball over somebody's head and take it to the house or way downfield, and he's already gotten you the points you need for that day. So C on him. Tight ends, I say likely. I have to give him a C as well, just because he clearly looks like he's going to be the guy in the forefront at the tight end position for the Giants this year. So there's that. But I do still like Theo Johnson a lot. I think Theo Johnson is slept on. I think that the Giants are going to have to run more 12 personnel sets, so 2 tight ends, which would put Theo on the field more often, give him the opportunity to catch some passes here and there, but I wouldn't start him in week 1. We move over to the Vikings, everybody's favorite team. Kyler Murray was named the starter a few days ago. So we know that's happening. We knew that was happening from the forefront. You as the Vikings, as the coaches, as Kevin O'Connell, you do the political thing and you say quarterback competition. And JJ's had his good points in training camp. Kyler's had his good points. They've both also had their down points. But we knew it was going to happen. We knew you don't bring in Kyler Murray to not start week 1, plain and simple. So Kyler Murray will start against Giants defense, who, granted, they did trade off Dexter Lawrence. So that takes away from their defense a little bit. But they also brought in, who's that rookie? I know. Arbel Reese. Super high on him coming in out of the draft. They've still got guys like Tremaine Edmonds on defense. They've got some potential playmakers there on the defensive side of the ball. Kyler Murray gets a C. Let's see how he does before we crown him the next Dante Culpepper. But I have high hopes for him. If I could put a plus on that C, I would, but I won't. Running backs, Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason. I could see them having the exact same number of touches over the course of the year. But I think Mason's going to have more carries, whereas Jones is going to have more receptions, more targets. You got Damon Claiborne, Xavier Scott. I don't think they're factors in week one. But with Aaron Jones pass catching, he's still the more agile and faster back of the two of them. So I'd give him. I'm going to give him a B, especially in a PPR format, because he's going to get those catches. Jordan Mason gets a C because, like I said, the Giants still have guys like Jermaine Edmonds who can stuff up the run. It could be tough for him. I mean, unless the Vikings start running away with it at some point in the second half, but I don't know if that'll happen. I don't see that happening. So we're going to give Mason a C. We go to wide receivers. Justin Jefferson. It's the same old song and dance. It's Justin Jefferson. You start him. He's an A. Pretty much every single time. Unless Kyler Murray turns out to be a complete train wreck and can't get anything done. But for now, absolutely, week one, Justin Jefferson, A, smash start. You don't even question it. Jordan Addison, I'm also going to give him an A because of the fact that the weakest part of the Giants defense, in my opinion, is their secondary. So if they do decide to double up on Jefferson or pull the safety over to cover him over the top, Jordan Addison's going to turn into a touchdown machine. I could see him scoring twice potentially in the game if it were, obviously a regular season full week one game. But yes, Addison gets an A. Juwan Jennings, I'm going to give a bench grade to. We need to see more of how he's going to get utilized in the offense before we can potentially rely on him in fantasy. He's a great run blocker for a wide receiver, especially. So he's going to have time. He's going to get opportunities on the field, but I don't see him getting more than a couple of targets, maybe 3, 4. If they're like end of the game, we're up by 2 scores. Take out JJ or take out Jefferson and Jordan Addison, and, then give him a couple shots. TJ Hawkinson, C. I look forward to seeing what he can do this year. He's an extra year healed from those bad injuries he had a couple years ago. If the offensive line doesn't hold up, which I don't have doubt in the offensive line this year, I'm really happy about it. I mean, we still have Darisaw, we still have Jackson, Randall's moving into the center. You still got, Fries, O'Neal on the right side. But anything can happen. So if the offensive line isn't up to snuff, to find a weakness, and Kyler Murray has to have moments where he needs to get rid of the ball quick, enter TJ Hawkinson. So I'm going to give him a C grade for that. So that's about all I got. But this was just, I did this video more for consistency, just to practice a little bit on that, breaking down, trying to do the breakdown of players and whatnot. Hopefully I'll have a little bit more statistical information next time. I won't be spending so much time on trying to get things working with this stream. And maybe by then I'll have some fun overlays too. But in the meantime, I'm going to end the stream now. Thank you for watching. And remember, some of you are getting messages in the next couple of days about your gosh darn keepers. So pay attention. I'll see you guys on the next one.